the scale, I'm pretty sure they will now come on board through the paper that we might be. So this paper that we are embarking on, it might be fourth time now for the last 13 years. There are issues of teacher recruitment. When we recruit, I see there is incomplete cycle. Teachers are recruited from certain institutions. And as we recruit, we are also mindful that the supply of teachers to all the vacancies around Papua New Guinea and likewise in the Pacific. And yesterday, the presentation, we see that demand, even in developed countries, attracting teachers from developing countries to save in there and leaving gaps to be solved. So I'm pretty sure in here that as we recruit teachers, and our good challenge in here is that deployment of teachers in the remote areas. And while the Chairman Teaching Service Commission is with us in here, my question is that is there any way that we can place teachers serving in the remote areas on either first fortnight or second fortnight rather than 6 months, 7 months, even 1 year? And I believe that's a big challenge. And is there any way? So I believe that is a way forward to make teachers happy and retain in the remote areas. That will be one of our challenges. There is also challenges in terms of retention. And I have issues of young teachers coming and serving for a year, 2, 3, and they move on. But those who were in about 30 years, 29, 28, 29, 30, they're able to be retained in the provinces. So that's our issues we encounter. It's now the question of to ensure that incentives are also done to retain those teachers in the remote areas. We have challenges in terms of in a remote area, we send the teachers in January and they come back to the urban areas in December. What happens in between? We have compromised in terms of standards. We have not visited them. And likewise, it's coming back to issues in terms of inspections in those remote areas. Is there any way through the Department of Education and being pressurized through this forum in here to ensure that remote teachers inspection be also done electronically, which is a big call, but I'm pretty sure that that can be done. And Robert Paru was sharing in his experiences, and some of those experiences can be looked into. In terms of capacity building of our teachers, likewise, if you send a teacher in a remote area and stays for a period of 12, 11 months, and no visitation, whether through inspections, and the number of inspectors, it has decreased with the increasing number of teachers. And also in terms of the pay issue. So that is also our issue in that regard. We have issues in terms of presence of the University of Goroka at the decision-making body at National Education Board. I'm pretty sure there are universities already with us, but a university responsible for teacher training, because policies that are raised, University of Goroka must be aware, must also debate it in line with the policy. So presentations in here done this week, rather the last 2 days, we realized that University of Goroka is absent when new policies come on board. And when we mention about similar in terms of the new curriculum, the outcome-based curriculum, teachers learned that when they were on the field, including myself when I graduated in here in 1997. We learned that on the field, not from University of Goroka. Today, standard-based curriculum. Teachers are not learning from Goroka, they're learning back in the classroom. When that happens, we compromise standards. So those are a few thoughts that we want to bring to us this morning. Many other things, but Albert Einstein, when he was more like praised in terms of his invention, and he says, it is not that I am smart, just that I stayed with the problem much more longer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Teden. Um, it's a pity that our island's representative did not come, but I'll probably step in a little bit like 2 minutes as a former PA. Just want to add a little bit to what my former colleague has said. There's some province, I mean, as alluded by Mr. Robert Parua, PAs are now answerable to the provincial government. So therefore, provincial government appoints them, which means that the national secretary and ministry have very limited influence on what they do or what they don't do in the province. Even though, and so you see a lot of reforms coming through, and the province, the national department actually does those policy, and they send them to the provinces. But to actually monitor and to make sure that this is implemented by the PAs, it's a gray area because they're answerable to the governor. So they have a choice to actually implement the policy of the national education or implement the interest of the governor. So with the experience I had, um, I think looking across the country, there's some provinces that there's stability in PAs. So it's not that we want to blame every province that politics involves and PAs are changed. It's not happening to everyone. But the most obvious region that seems to be happening is the islands. We have to be honest. And I became the victim of that. I was sacked because of the political change. It's not because I performed poorly, Chairman. You would say that. You would confirm that. It's not because I didn't perform very well. It's just typical politics, and I am the evidence here, studying and talking. So, because of that, if we can use this forum to make sure that proposal that Mr. Paro has suggested, that PAs must come directly and report directly to the National Education Secretary and Minister, would be excellent. A little bit of info into it, you see. So, some provinces, they have bylaws of education, so they have their own at completely a different person as chairperson, like Western Islands, like Eastern Britain, some provinces. But some provinces, they don't have Education Act, Provincial Education Act. So the PA is the chairperson of the education board. So in that situation, he can be the chairperson, but then the board members are appointed by the governor. So that's what's in my experience. So he's one person chairing, but all board members are all politically appointed. So they tell the PA, we appointed you and you are the chairperson. You will listen to us and you will appoint teachers to the position our governor wants. And teaching service commissioner is here. He had experience with that and reported already. So you see, these are the obstacles to quality. So we want to post, like when I was a PA, I wanted to use MRI. He had 12 subject MRI. So I see a teacher who is teaching very well, and his MRI is very good. I posted accordingly to secondary schools or high school. But I did that, and we saw some improvement in our province. But when you put people who have political interest, they will tell you that is this person was giving a good number of votes in his box, so put him principal of this secondary school. We get these directions. I get these directions, and I stood up and said, "No, sorry, this is not a political area." So if PAs can have the guts to stand up, they will. Otherwise, they are most vulnerable, and they will be listening to it. So this is a very serious, and all the teachers here, they know this. They know this. Some teachers who are now in doing in service here, they were politically removed, so they have to go and look for something to do, and that's the reason why they're here in the in-service college doing studies, waiting for their political change again, so they can rise. So that's the pattern of behavior happening, and this is an academic place where we feel free to talk and talk honestly, and I'm happy that we can. I am not being monitored by a politician, so I can say, and it's important. It's important that we write it in this forum to and then we can deliver to. So that's the conclusion. Yeah. So people who are like the PAs who are talking and teachers who will be talking after this, don't worry about the audience here. If the education minister is not here, secretary is not here, don't worry, because this talking that you are going to present, those teachers whom we kept you till now, what you say is going to be recorded. It will be brought to the right people. The declaration is already on, so feel free to say as much as you can, so that our scribers at the back, the video people are actually recording. So we will put it on, and then we will give it distribute it to people who need to see this. Don't worry about them not being present here. It will be recorded and it will be sent to their attention. So feel free to say, and that probably concludes this part of the session for PAs. It's sad to see islands not represented, so I just stood in and expressed my experience. With this, thank you very much.
Thank you, the moderator, for this session. Thank you very much. Let's give a big round of applause to Dr. Charlie Muke. Thank you. Our next session will be sharing rural teacher experiences in junior high schools and secondary schools. And our moderator for this session is Mr. John Agoya, the acting Dean, Executive Dean for the School of Education. Please make welcome Mr. Agoya.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for putting up with us over the 2 days of hectic schedules. This morning, uh, the purpose of the conference is to hear from the teachers. And as a teacher, having been out of the classroom for some 20 years, many things have happened, and it would be a very good idea to hear from our teachers, and they have the opportunity now. So today I have the privilege of calling upon um, our teachers, our principals, school principals who are here with us today. Paglum Secondary School, Mr. Freddie Pennington. Do we have him here? Good. Freddie, we were together here 2005-6. So thank you for being part of this program. You take the stage. Mr. Sen Ebi, principal. He's a principal, but a student at the University of Goroka doing his bachelor's undergraduate study. He's not here. Mr. Oliver Kuye, principal, Hoskins Secondary. I saw him yesterday, but okay. I'll use my discretion to call upon the Deputy Principal Asaroka. Deputy Principal Asaroka, who's been a very good friend of UOG in terms of teaching practice. Whenever schools reject our trainees, he is the one who says welcome. So thank you, Deputy Principal Asaroka. Uh, thank you. I will also use my discretion again here. I will call upon Miss Margaret Jim. Am I right? Ugini Junior High School. You can come up here. That's we have some female teachers who are stepping up to take responsible positions in our schools. So it is good we acknowledge them, and it is challenging when you come from a patrilineal society such as the Highlands region. So thank you for your presence here. And I will also use my discretion again to invite Madina principal, Madina in New Island. I saw her walking in with Professor Malpo. Good. You can come forward. We need to hear from you. And by the look of my presenters here, it's a balanced, we have a balanced group here. 2 females and 2 males. So thank you very much. We would like to hear from you in terms of your challenges and the quality of graduates that you get. It is good that Mr. Pennington, Principal Parklum touched on that yesterday. And it would be helpful for them to tell us so that we work together to improve the quality of teachers. And it is good our Teaching Service Commissioner is still here, Mr. Samson Wangihomi. And from his presentation, it shows clearly that he is teaching is in his DNA, teachers especially. So thank you, Commissioner, for your 3 days. Your presence here makes a lot of sense. So thanks for being with us. I will call upon the first presenter, Principal Pennington. Thank you.
Thank you, moderator. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I will get straight to what I have before me to present. I graduated at the University of Goroka in 2006. My first posting was Millep Lutheran High School. We were pioneer teachers there, and that was back then a very new school. We started the school. We got the first lot of grade 9s admitted, and then that was the only grade for the year. They were 8 of us. When the next year rolled by, those grade 9s became grade 10, and the new grade 9s came in, and it became a conventional high school. From computers at the University of Goroka straight to a typewriter, manual typewriter. And this manual Duplo, I could still remember writing on stencils. It was a very good challenge and experience. In 2013, I, with a group of professionals from different fields, decided to go for an expedition. We crossed the Kuba Range in the Jiwaka province. And then if you are from Jiwaka, up Gurku and down to Kambia. I was actually one in the group that did a survey on education out there at the remotest part of Jiwaka, one of the remotest parts of Jiwaka. And I realized that teachers had to walk, some will have to go by plane. But one of the things that I'd like to say is, when I asked them, how do you conduct the grade 8 examination? Those that were on the ground and were interviewed stated that the external invigilators used to take the trek over the range, and then they used to come with the uh, grade 8 exam papers, and then they used to administer. They used to sleep at least a night on the way, and then the next day they used to reach the school. So what they normally do is they administer the exam, and then immediately after the administering the examination, they used to sleep for the night, and then the next day they used to cross the range, the mountain range, and then back to the headquarters. And the group that we went, we put that together on a report also, and we submitted to the authorities to. We said, you have schools out this, the provincial administration, go and do what you must. We are only coming with this report. Paglum Adventist Secondary School is 17.3 kilometers from northeast of the city of Mount Hagen by road. Directly, it's 12.2 kilometers. And it is remote, but not very remote or extremely remote. Or they are now putting schools in different categories: highly accessible, moderately accessible, remote, very remote, and extremely remote. But if I am to say something on remote or extremely remote and all of those, my school would be moderately accessible, but I feel that the shoe I'm wearing is also representative of the extreme schools, because I've been there too. So bring me to the experiences of some of these schools, and specifically from where I am, that I am seeing, and I've been being challenged. I will just mention 6 of them, and that would be it. I'm glad the UNESCO, Mr. Parwa, the report, and many of the presentations here have already captured, and I think the problems are not isolated. They are synonymous, they are similar, and it's cutting through societies and countries. So what I would be saying might sound more of a repetition, but it's okay. And I would like to also say that the time is always right to say the right things. So it's not late for us to be at this time to speak. The nature always has a way of listening to whatever is pronounced, as long as it comes from the heart. It will go 1,000 miles, and it will have the impact to make changes. So the first point, the first challenge, I realized as a principal for 7 years, a deputy principal for 8 years, a SSM for 2 years, and a base level teacher for 2 years, is students' attitude and negative behavior. It's a real challenge. And if we do not address that, one important thing is the only profession that someone will be in order to see the future of a nation is when you are an educator. You will be in a better position no other profession. That is from my personal experience. But students' attitude is getting out of hand. People will be talking about other things, but I thought that's one of the challenges we are having. We get students admitted to our school from primary schools, and then we pass the buck to the primary schools. Secondary school, high school teachers will allude with me, they'll agree with me to that. We pass the buck. We are saying primary school teachers are not disciplining the students, half-baked students. They are offloaded to us, and their problem is over, and now it's our problem. And then we offload them to the universities and colleges, and our problem is over. Now it's their problem. The blame game continues to go on and on. But one of the challenges is students' attitude and behavior. How could we address that together? The second challenge I would like to say is, again, to students. Students' indulgence in substance abuse. One of the things that is running through the society subtly, people are not realizing it. Authorities are not speaking much about it. There is students' indulgence in substance abuse, and specifically marijuana. That is affecting a lot of our school students, and no one is talking about it, and I'm surprised. It's just, we are not doing anything. As schools and as individual institutions, separate institutions, we are trying to do through the behavior management policies of the schools, we are trying to address it, but students are really dying of that. In order for our society tomorrow to be changed, we really need to look at students' attitude and their behavior towards the negative habits that they are developing, and one of which is their indulgence in this marijuana. So that's one thing I would like to say. That's a challenge, and teachers, we cannot deny it. If we wait, who will do it? So I know institutions are not the only player who will eradicate or control or minimize that challenge. It will need a lot of stakeholders to work together. But that's the second challenge that I see as a teacher. The third one is teacher attrition. I'm speaking as an administrator now of a school. I know the intentions my teachers have. The first teacher till the 39th officer on the ground. Most of them are taking teaching as a transit point. Because people also say when you are a teacher, it's a pivotal profession. You can go there, go the other way. So maybe some students are coming to the University of Goroka also because they had no other place to go. So they come in, they get out there, and then off they go. Some of our teachers are moving out. They're going back to studies to other universities, and they got admitted to other institutions, non-educational institutions. So as I'm speaking now, some are headed, some are planning their move, some are already sending applications, and they are moving out. So I really agree with all the things that are said here. Some are going to other institutions, and now they are seeing that there's no job opportunities in this country. Now they are recalled back into the teaching profession. So there's some kind of funny things happening. And I, as a genuine educator, am realizing this. But the problem of teacher attrition, teachers leaving the job and going elsewhere. I don't like using this phrase, greener pastures, seeking for something green on the other side of the river. There is no something green. Everything is green. It depends on where your heart is and what you want to do for this great nation of Papua New Guinea. Number 4, there's the same infrastructural and capacity building. I won't say much on that. You all know it. We desire, and I know every administrator, school leaders here, they already envision and they have a model school already captured somewhere there at the back of their mind. And they dream that one day my school must be like this, like that. But when I meet with one or two of them, I tell them, you will never complete everything and your time will be up. It's a sad story. All the dreams and desire you have in you, it will not come into fruition. You will not realize everything. And it will not be your fault. Don't be under pressure. Don't grow gray quickly. Just do what you can do and face out. Let the other things for the other people to come and do, because in the place we live and in the nation that we live, it seems that we will struggle on our own. Be innovative. The little help that we get from stakeholders and the department and all of those, we will have to make do with what we have, the support that we need, and just do what you must, and let's get out. But infrastructure is a very big problem. We cannot deliver quality if our infrastructure is not in order. It's just too much. Those of you who've traveled overseas, you will see the kind of classroom and facilities that they have. And when you compare it to the school that you yourself were educated in before you came to this auditorium, it's another story. And what some of the challenges that you went through while you were still students, it's still there, prevalent. Who will change it? When will it change? How will it change? Number 5, quality teacher. Adam Smith said, our job as teacher is very important, for we may never know how far our influence may go. Teacher quality is important. When I get an application for a teacher who's trying to teach at the school that I am heading, when I see a sentence structure that is wrong, and when I see a grammatical error or a spelling error in the EOI, expression of interest letter, application letter, I don't go beyond and read the content transcripts, everything. Because if there has to be quality, it has to start somewhere by some people, and I must be one in that number. So most of us are teachers. And quality must start with just one person. This girl from the Middle East, Malala, she said, one book, one student, one teacher can change the world. We cannot look elsewhere, but we must start with ourselves when it comes to quality. And if we are school leaders here, it starts with us. It radiates, it goes out to our deputies down the line, and our last teacher there is joining the staff. But the quality of teacher is missing. I have teachers coming to the school and they cannot complete a sentence in English. I have teachers who are in the school, but they are not in the school. I have teachers sitting from 8 to 4 in the school, in the office, but the productivity is diminishing. SMA, social media addiction, is affecting our teachers too. So there are many issues when it comes to quality. And it's not just feeding them competently the academic stuff that they will go and teach. They can be rich up here, but the delivery will be guided by attitude, personality, discipline, and all of those. If we detach these two, we cannot achieve anything. But quality is the question. So if we have to discuss something, then it's quality academic programs. We are experts. But the other side that I see that there's still problem is to do with their attitude and personality and conduct. That needs to be knitted well with their mental capacity. And then we can achieve a lot. One quality teacher, one well-behaved student sitting in a classroom that is fully finished can change the society, our society. And the last one, challenges in the government policy. My shoe is too small to speak on that, but I'll just say again, as a genuine educator, I choose the teaching profession. It's not a second choice. So I'll just say what I have here before I sit down, and I know my time is up, moderator. Challenges of the government's policy. It's frightening. We are changing. The education system is changing. I may not have all the experiences in this, but the short 18 years of teaching, I've realized a lot of changes. And that's too much for a short period of time. If we are changing systems, then one system has to be phased out, and then the other system should come in. If we are merging systems, there's a lot of confusions. There's a lot more confusions. And this is exactly what we are doing. We are merging systems. We are not phasing out systems. The last grade elementary 1 student in the OB must go to elementary 2. And then the 166 structure, that first preparatory school student must be admitted. It goes like this. When the last OB student reach grade 12, the standard base must be in grade 11. It's going like this at the moment, but it's not clearly showing. It's more or less like it's merged, and it's not like one system is phased out and then the other is taking place. taking over. So we have this structural change happening, 166 structure, and then we have this curriculum change happening at the same time. And then we are also hearing that grade 10 exams will not be administered, or should it be administered, it will not have any significance in selection. And everyone is going all the way to grade 12. Some parts of the world, they're doing that also. But how did they manage it? How did they manage it? And it's running so perfectly. So these are some of the questions. But on that, for a TFF, when that's the last one under this point, I just said this. There are others who may say some things. I will not say all the things. TFF, Onel government, that name is changed to GTFS by the Marape government. And for this year, they're changing it to government free education. So GFE. So I've studied the publications where how much they're paying for grade 8, all the students day and boarding. And then I've seen what they're trying to do for this year. And then for this year, I think the government is sensitive. They're aware. And I know some people are at work, and we respect them for what they're doing and their commitment. And now they're putting schools into different categories, highly accessible and all of those. But my question is, where is my school in this? No one is telling me, and I don't know how much I will receive, you see. I know some of you know whether your school is extremely remote, very remote, moderately accessible, and all of those. So I'm assuming that my school is accessible. So if I look at that accessible column or row, I realize that I will be paid less than what I used to receive. And that is already, just by looking at books, I'm already affected. It's affecting the budget of my humble school. So these are things. And I'm sure most of the schools in Papua New Guinea don't know which category they fall in. And if the school leaders don't know, they will be guessing. They'll be looking through the columns and should I be getting this, that? So I'm just mentioning that. And like in the previous years, the commodity component of the GTFS for my school, we received only 20 cartons of A4 paper and 32 cartons of exercise books. That's all. The stationary component, I mean. But in Paglum, we ran 30 papers in just 1 week. But I was there for 1 year is 20 cartons. So Nelson Mandela stated that in one of his speeches. To destroy a country, a nation, you simply destroy the education system. So I'm not sure what we are doing to ourselves. And the question I would like to put forth before I sit down is, why are we always saying basic education, basic health services? Why basic? Do we have something called standard? We are asking about quality all the time. Is there a right time for us to reach reach that point? Who will be responsible for that? How will we do that? I get my hats off. We have the minds of Papua New Guinea sitting here, highly qualified, well experienced people. We will not be here forever. I know each and every one of you in your heart and mind, you have something for this nation. In your dying bed, what will be your contribution to this great nation that will have laid a foundation and leave your legacies on, and you will be smiling in your grave? We all have a part to play. These are some of the 6 challenges in summary that I would like to present on behalf of the principals. Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Mr. Pennington, Freddie Pennington from Paglum Secondary. Some challenges, very important challenges that they are facing in their schools in terms of student behavior and attitude. And blame game begins from the primary to secondary to university. So, and then substance abuse by the students, teacher attrition, and that is one challenge that I will highlight later that we face when you look at the application of someone intending to be trained to be a teacher. A lot of questions are raised as to whether this person is genuine or genuinely wanting to become a teacher or not. That is one challenge that we face. Quality teacher reforms that they are going through, and TFF funding, of course, which affects the school's operations. So 10 minutes, presenters, and we'll allow for questions and comments after. So at this time, I have the privilege of calling one of the female principals from Miss Margaret Jim, Principal Ukuni Maiwa Junior High School from Western Highlands, I suspect. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, the chairperson, for giving me this opportunity to at least share one or two experience or challenges like my colleagues have. Thank you. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. I am Miss Margaret Jim, and I am a principal to one of the rural school. Okay, Okinawa High School is in Western Highlands. Is bordering. My school is bordering 2 or 3 provinces. 2 provinces. It's between Enga province, bordering Enga and Medellin. Okay, it is located 40 kilometers or more than that. 40 kilometers or more than that away from Mount Again city. Okay, it falls under 3 of this category. It falls under very remote. Okay, very, not very. It falls under very remote location. Okay, thank you. I'll briefly go through some of my challenges. My colleague, Mr. Pellington, has mentioned a lot of things. Some of these things are similar, which we go through. But as for me, I am going to say something on especially junior high school's perspective. Okay, Mr. Pellington has mentioned something on secondary school level. And I believe some of these things that I'm going to say, some of my colleagues here, especially principals, they're facing the same or similar problems as I face. We cannot say problem, I'm sorry. These are challenges. And I am going to address how I do overcome as a female principal, how I do overcome this. Okay, further on to my introduction, this is my second year of being a principal. 2 years being deputy principal to that same school, and another 2 years for being a principal, deputy, and then to principal. Thank you. Okay, continue on with my introduction to school and myself. Okay, my school is this is fifth year of operation. It's a new school, fifth year of operation. I only have grade 9s and 10s. Okay, I only have 9s and 10s. Thank you. I am going to, I have 3 or 4 points, actually 3 points. I'll make it short because we're given only 15 minutes, 10 minutes. I'll make it short. My first point is on students' behavior, which my friend, colleague, Mr. Pellington has mentioned that already. Next is on teachers' behavior, and it's in line with quality teacher and all this. Okay, I'll put it as teachers' behavior, students' behavior, and then teachers' behavior. Okay, that's another point. Another one is on teachers' welfare. Okay, being principal to a very remote school and serving in a very remote school, teachers' welfare is very, very important. As our TSC mentioned that already yesterday, when I was literally, my tears were rolling down because he was mentioning something which I normally face or experience with my teachers. Okay, thank you. That's another thing. And last one is on infrastructure development. That is as a new school or new, let's say, junior high school. Infrastructure development is another problem that, a challenge that I face, and how I overcome that to manage to bring the school forward. Okay, thank you. I go back to my first point as students' behavior. All right, my colleagues and audience, I think students' behavior is now becoming worse in the country. Okay, as I am speaking, being a principal, controlling the students' behavior is, especially a female teacher or principal. Students' behavior is something which it's beyond my control. Sometimes my teachers, they do cooperate with me, managing students' behavior. Sometimes, as a principal, like teachers, they do not cooperate. I have to run around to manage those, manage especially students, especially male students taking drugs. Drug is becoming worse now. Okay, it's in line with teachers' behavior. Some of the teachers too, they're also taking drugs as well, and they are, uniting, or what can I say, combining with teachers. I mean, students. And then doing that as a female teacher, sometimes it's a big challenge for me. Handling this students' behavior in line with, even come together with, let's say, teachers' behavior too. Okay, so that's some of, sometimes, like schools, we do have our own policies and rules and regulations to guide the school and bring the school forward. Like for me, look, for my school, I say that chewing or smoking, these are not allowed. And I believe it applies to all the schools. Okay. As an agency, my school is run by Baptist Church. Okay, some of the things like chewing and all these ones, it's not allowed. But nowadays, like I said, students' behavior, we cannot control it. So people are, you know, they cannot listen. Okay, so all in all, I could say the students' behavior is it's getting worse. So what can we do to, to at least to control this in line with Mr. Pellington? Okay, that's another one. I move on to next point because my time is catching up. Next is on teachers' behavior. It's same thing. I see that in my school, especially the new graduates, one or two that's going to my school. Okay, when it comes to, I see that professionalism is one thing that many of the speakers have mentioned. Those, especially new teachers, they are not maintaining this professionalism thing. I am also a UOG graduate, and I know code of ethics. My lecturers have been trained us. Code of ethics is very important thing, how to, dressing and all this. But I see that nowadays those, especially the new graduates that they are going, I am appealing this to UOG team. Okay, I see that professionalism is nowadays it's becoming problem. Back my time that was okay, but now I see the new teachers, especially new graduates that they are coming. Sometimes they are wearing t-shirts. Is t-shirt is a part of professionalism during school hours? T-shirt, is it allowed? I'm asking a question. T-shirt, is it allowed or not? Is it part of professionalism? Jeans, is it allowed? Jeans? I don't think so. Okay, so these are some things that I see. Even during school hours, I see teachers going out, smoking, chewing, all these ones, and I believe that is a part of professionalism. So we need to at least control this now. I am just putting it on the floor because as a principal, lady principal, these are some things that I am facing. So, okay, for us to at least we can at least look for means and ways to our younger ones coming, we can try to control this. Okay, that's another thing. Okay, my third point, it's on teachers' welfare and intensive. Teachers' welfare, those town schools, okay, but especially those of us we coming from rural areas, okay, because due to these rural settings, sometimes they see there's road conditions like my school. Road condition is not good. If I have to say all this from A to Z, I am going to take long. Okay, my school is okay, is located in Mr. Doctor's area. Okay, so road condition is another thing. It's problem there. Road is not connected. It's not okay. Road condition is bad. Okay, given a lot of problems. All right, I have to, as a lady teacher, being a principal, to keep all my teachers in my school. I see that some of the things here I must do to keep these ones. Okay, to avoid, having those problems like whatever that I have mentioned. Okay, so one of it is I am referring this to TSC, like he has mentioned something on rural rural schools. What is it? Intensive, or what do you call this one? Yes, disadvantages. Thank you. Okay, disadvantages. We go to two primary schools. I have two neighbor primary schools, and my high school, three schools. These disadvantages, we have been missed out. We launch our applications. When I say this, these two primary schools, they are very oldest school. Okay, oldest school. And my school is a new, junior high school is a new school. Okay, we've launched many times. My teachers have been applying for these disadvantages together with the primary school teachers. We have launched it many times, but we see that it has never been evaluated. So I think that see the right person is here. So I am just putting this one. I'm throwing this one to him. Thank you. Okay, it's part of teacher intensive. right? And last one is on infrastructure developments. Okay, like I said, my school is just a new school. I got many challenges. I only have two duplex classroom, having two grade 9 to 10s, squeezing everyone in these two classrooms due to TFF shortfall, like my friend Mr. Pellington mentioned. TFF that is coming in is insufficient. It's not enough, which I can use to build classrooms to do other developments. Every quarter, I am receiving less than, sometimes it's 15,000, sometimes less than that, or less than 20,000, which I am putting these ones to stationery alone and a little bit of teachers' welfare now. I'm finished now. Okay, so developments or infrastructure is a big need or challenge in my school. And I believe it applies to all those other junior high schools are facing the same problem as I am speaking. Okay, so that's that. And I am not going to mention everything. Okay, well, when I say that I have only two classrooms, then on top of it, you can think about many. Even I don't have a science lab, I don't have a library, but I manage. Okay, how I overcome, I manage. And to tell the truth, my school is a top 10 school. Mr. Pellington is here. Top 10 school in West Nile province. Okay, it's we have 30 schools in the province. Sorry, I am when I say this, like in terms of performance, grade 10 results, I am not looking at 12 because I don't have 12. 10s, my school normally comes, it is in the 10th place. Okay, so even though I don't have all the facilities in place, but I managed to at least, to bring the school forward. So thank you once again. And I believe that most of the junior high schools we're facing the same problem. And I should stop here. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Principal. Despite all the challenges, you are committed for putting your school in the top 10 in Western Highlands. Thank you. Despite all the challenges. And the same to Paglum Secondary. Despite all the challenges, it's first in the country. So let's give a round of applause to Principal Pennington. Good. Despite all the challenges, we are hearing all the stories, but I think the principals missed one important point, and that is, despite all the challenges, this is what we are doing to put the schools at this level. Thank you very much. And when principals talk, they talk with power, so sometimes the moderator has to keep quiet. So that is exactly what I'm doing. And it is good because this is the only time they will come and talk. And what they tell us is all information, all news to us. So thank you, the two speakers so far. But today I have the privilege, this time I want to acknowledge the presence of our Chancellor, who is still with us since the conference started. Chancellor, thank you for your presence. I have the privilege again to call upon Mr. Michael Swau, Deputy Principal Asaroka. And as I've said, Asaroka is a partner school to UOG. When other schools reject our TP micro students, Asaroka welcomes our students, training teachers with open arms. So I have the privilege of calling upon Mr. Michael Swau.
Thank you, Mr. Agoya. You got me by surprise. Anyway, we are very good brothers, so I'll see you later to sort this one out. Thank you. First and foremost, good morning, everyone. How do we do? Thank you. I'd like to take this honor to say, acknowledge the Vice Chancellor of University of Goroka, Chancellor, of University of Goroka, that chair lady herself, Dr. Awi, thank you to you again to pick my school, Asroka Lutheran Secondary School, to bring the delegates, Mr. Robert Parwa, and the delegates from China to go there and first on experience to see live Asaro madmen. I'd also like to thank my employer sitting there, Mr. Samson Wangyomi. Thank you very much for being around still with us. Dr. Ako, Dr. Rangao, thank you very much. The other doctors, if I have missed you, Executive Deans of University of Goroka, thank you very much. That team of Dr. Awi, I can see Joy sitting there, Ms. Kuraiba there, those who have put this forum together at working. And I'm very privileged to stand here to present in a forum. Thank you very much all for being around. Thank you. Mr. Agwe just got me by surprise, and I don't know what to say, where to start, where to finish. But I'll go back to my experiences of teaching. This is my 27 years of teaching in the field. And my teaching career started in West New Britain, which is my second homeland. They say Ossipik Blokimbe. That's where I come from. All right. So I started there. Thank you, my dear Chairman. All right. So that's why I started in 1998. 1998, for 5 years, I moved across to East New Britain for another 10 years. And then I moved across to New Ireland province for another 5 years. And then I was plucked out from New Ireland province and thrown into the wilderness of Western province. I think the inspector for Western province is sitting right there looking at me. And then to Kiunga, and thinking that I was going to stay around Kiunga, they threw me right into the lagoons of Middle Fly. That was Ayambak High School, where former late member Roy Biama built, if I'm correct. He built, and that's about 2 kilometers to Lake Murray. And I was thrown in there with my wife, my 3-year-old boy, and my 2-month-old baby. So from Kiunga, we stayed a week, and then Mr. Dwaba was there, the secondary school inspector at the time, inspector. He said, Mr. Michael Swa, you are going to Ayambak High School. I said, where is Ayambak? He said, it's very close to Kiunga. And I said, oh, thank you. So 6 o'clock in the morning, that was the highlight of my teaching career I'm talking about. I've been in West New Britain, light, stop. I've been in East New Britain, light was there. When I went to New Ireland, Lear Secondary, that's gold. We were just floating on gold, Lear Secondary. But from Lear, when they took me out, that's where I saw real Papua New Guinea. I really saw real Papua New Guinea, the hardships we are facing. So we traveled 6:30. We left Kiunga town waterfront, and we traveled down and then past the Octady River coming through, and then we went further, and then we came to Dawa. If I'm correct, Dawa is where the West Papuans are all settled. Dawa, we went in there. We stayed there for about 30 minutes, and then we traveled. I'm not saying we travel on a plane. I'm saying we travel on a dinghy through Middle Fly. So I have the experience of traveling on Middle Fly. I have not traveled on Sepik River where I come from, but Middle Fly. Yes, so we went and then arrived at Ayambak waterfront at around 7:30. And I was expecting a very good reception party because that's one headmaster, they got out from New Ireland to go down to Ayambak. So people will be waiting for us, dancing group and all that. Unfortunately, when we arrived, the first people to greet me and my family were mosquitoes. And that was the first time I ever experienced a mosquito kissing me on the lips. The mosquito kissed me on the lips. And they will come like flies, and you throw your hands like that, and it's all blood. And they just feed on you and they fall down. And that was the first time I slept inside a mosquito net. I ate inside a mosquito net, under a mosquito net, did everything under the mosquito net. I also had the privilege of seeing what they call the Papuan blacks and the dead adders. That was the privilege I had to meet some of those very interesting organisms we have out there in the wilderness. Yeah, Lake Murray is about 2 kilometers away from the school that I went to. I went in there. The school, very, very sorry, very poor school. So staying there for about 6 months, I called the counselor from Ayambak village to come. We sat down, we talked about what we can try to see what we can do for the school. So I sat down, and the Curtin brothers were building a road from Ayambak to Kiunga at that time. And I saw that's something that I've seen, and I'm talking about challenges we face and what we can do. Look around within our vicinity and do. There are no hospitals. There are no hospitals within Ayambak. The only two hospitals, one is at Hobo and one is at Bosset. Those are Catholic schools. We don't see planes for 4 months, 6 months. We don't see rice for 4 to 5 months. No, nothing. All right. So we stayed there, and then in my experience, we have a student, we have in a mock exam, something, and then we send them to go. We don't have water, so they go into the sagos, dig around the sago palm trees and collect water from there to bath in the mornings and in the afternoons. So she went, and then unfortunately she was bitten by a Papuan black. We rushed her down to the waterfront and tried to bring her to Hobo. It's 1 hour, 30 minutes by dinghy up to Hobo. And then another 1 hour, 30 minutes down to Bosset. That's where the health centers are. When we tried, unfortunately, the poor girl passed away. That was one thing that I've seen how the teachers out there struggling. And it's all lagoon. The vast mess area is just lagoon. You look through, and it's from here to, let's say, down on top Chuabe, it's just lagoon. It's all lagoon. That's how Western Province is. And I recap on what my Teaching Service Commission chairman has said. That place there, we don't know how they are struggling and suffering and making all ends try to meet to bring education. Teachers sent there when I arrived, there were two ladies from East New Britain. They were promised that you will go in there and then you will get your leave first every 2 years. They went in there, and the director and all the division people from Kiunga, Awambi, forgot about them. And they left them there. And I went and I saw them. I felt very pity for them because they have left their families, two young ladies. That's the challenges where the teachers are facing around some of the most remotest part. So what I did was I asked the white person, the manager for Curtin Brothers, got in a container. We got the container. I told one of the carpenters from the villages, he came in, got plywood, and we created or we made or built a small canteen for Ayambak High School. Went down to Bosset, brought the cargo, pencil, biro, small tin fish, rice, all this. They collect OTDF royalties. Okay, the Fly River Development Corporation give them royalties, but where do they spend the money? The money was there. So we looked at opportunities where the school, we can make some money for the school. So we built a small canteen, and then, yeah, definitely in around 2 weeks, the cargoes just runs out. So I saw that we need protein. So I asked the agriculture teacher, please make a makeshift bush material. We made a makeshift. We paid 5 kina for village chickens. We placed them inside. And then that supplemented the mess for the protein. And there came a time where we did not have any rice for the students in the mess because you have to travel to Kiunga. That will take 2-3 days to travel to Kiunga from Ayambak, Middle Fly. And to come down to Balimo, it's another 2, 3 days. And when you talk about going down to Daru, you are saying you are going to travel for a year. Yep. So a week we did not have any food, so I said stop classes. I went down again to Ayambak village. I saw the counselor. Counselor, please come and see me in the school. I came up and I said, where are your sago palm trees? Show me. And he said, Headmaster, what do you want to do? I don't have any food. I cannot send these kids home. Let's look at something where we can do. Oh, the sago palm trees are there. I said, stop classes 1 week, stop classes. Go to the mess, everyone, collect 10 kg rice, empty bags. We went in there, put on him saksak, we start making saksak. Lucky that I'm from Sipik, so I know how to make saksak too. Yeah. So that 1 week, we made sago only. Sago, pack them in the bags, put them in the mess for a week. When I saw that the bags of sagos were enough, I said, please you supply us with Macau and Baramandi from the lagoon. So we started classes again. That's something that we can look around and do for the school itself. So I stayed there, and Mr. Duaba said, I think you have done 1 or 2 things enough for Ayambak High School. You need to come down to Kiunga Secondary. So I came down to Kiunga Secondary, and that's where I saw rice and tin fish for after some good years. Right now, I'm at Asaroka Lutheran Secondary School, deputy principal. The school itself was built in 1954. My former mentor and leader is right out here, Mr. Peter Asu. That's my mentor when I came to Eastern Islands Province. So I acknowledge you for that, Mr. Peter Asu. Thank you very much. So when I'm down there at Asoroka, it's built in 1954 pre-colonial era school. And I would like to acknowledge the director of UNESCO from Cairo, Egypt, Mr. Robert Parwa. He left Eastern Islands once. He visited some 30 years ago, as he has mentioned yesterday. He went and he came back from Kitip. He came to Asoroka Lutheran Secondary School some 30 years. Last Friday, when he went down with his team, he said, Mr. Swao, the same buildings I have seen that time is still there. I said, congratulations, welcome, and see it for yourself again. Thank you. So the school is a pre-colonial era school, 1954, built by the Lutheran Missionaries, ELC PNG, Evangelical Lutheran Church of PNG. Up till currently, it's 60 years old or 61 years old, and the same buildings are still standing. They are around 70 years old. Thank you for correcting me, TSC Chairman. My challenge to myself now, sitting in the chair as a deputy principal now is, and I quote back to the famous, most famous late president of United States of America, John F. Kennedy, see what you can do for America, not American do for you. So I said, okay, Mr. Swao, you are sitting here and see what you can do now for Asoroka Lutheran Secondary School and not what Asoroka Lutheran Secondary School can do for me. So the challenge I'd like to leave with everyone here, educated elites, we are all educated elites here, is let's go back to our own settings, our own schools, and see what we can do for that school, not the school to do what for us. Let's see how we can do something for that school. Thank you. As teachers, I have said I was not prepared. As Mr. Agwe just said, Mr. Swao, come and present. I was not prepared, but we are teachers. When they give you 5 minutes to rush into the classroom, you can improvise. Whether you can tell the truth or you don't tell the truth, you and me knows. Thank you very much.
I Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Swao, Deputy Principal. Asaroka Secondary, a true teacher from PNG. Some of us, we teach in one province and we claim to be a teacher. But from his life story, he's literally been everywhere, experiencing all parts of PNG and the challenges that teachers in those various parts of the country face. And sometimes appointment officers, they lie to us, having lied to Mr. Suau in the Western Province, telling him that the school is just behind the tree. And I was lied to by my appointment officer. He said, the school that you will go is a stone throw away. That means where the stone lands is where the school is. But it was a 5-hour walk school. So thank you, Mr. Suau, for your experiences. And good. Today I have the privilege of calling upon another powerful lady, a school principal in Madina Secondary School in New Island Province, where all the powerful women come from. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'd like to say thank you again to the Chairperson. I was here in 2007 and Mr. Hagoya was one of my lecturers. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, esteemed leaders. I'd like to extend a word of thanks to every one of us, especially the organizing committee and the people of the education department, the national department, as well as UOG and our partners in or as stakeholders to the university. Thank you so much. I was also caught off guard because whilst looking at the program, I saw that some other principles were put down for the discussion, but I'm happy. I was just here as a participant to assist Dr. Malpo. I'd like to say thank you, Dr. Malpo, for taking me here and giving me the challenge to express the challenges that are facing or we are facing in the furthest island in Papua New Guinea. All right, coming back to my challenges for the province, I will not just speak as an individual or a principal of a secondary school, but I will generally outline the situation in all of New Island province. Coming from the furthest and the northern part of the country, we seem to be the furthest away from services, and especially in terms of funding, in terms of implementation of education policies, and in terms of teacher upskilling. It is a very big problem for us. I have a few for us to just take note because I have been given just 10 minutes. I hope I bypass the 10 minutes to be like Mr. Suau and move on to maybe 15 or 20 minutes. Please bear with me. My number one is on provincial government's limitation on support to schools. Considering the geographical location of New Island province and the atolls, the islands of New Island, most schools are being placed in the islands. Now, our mode of transport to the schools are especially by sea transport. And we're talking about accessing schools by sea transport from 3 hours to even 5 hours by sea. We do not have proper speedboat or boats that the government has put in for the schools to use, and therefore principals struggle to bring in ration to the schools, especially the boarding schools, as well as coming to do banking. The only available bank that ease of access is in KVN town. And therefore, they risk their lives traveling for 12 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours just to get to town, and then take a night off in town looking for accommodation, as the provincial education department or the board has not put in place a place where teachers can come and rest before they take their routes. So with the geographical location, it is a problem for us. Although we have the best representation in government, we hold the finance department in government. Please don't talk him linstaki or submit also. We have services that are not reaching our education elites on our end. It's very sad to see teachers struggling. And I'd like to appreciate here Dr. Caleb Malpo, our professor, for the tireless efforts she has put into the province to at least assist those schools that have been seen on the islands and traveling into the out of town for services. My next one is whilst on the provincial support, there has been a lot of mishap on the fundings for national events or national programs. For example, DAT exams for grade 10s or grade 11s, examinations pieced. For 16 years, New Island has not had provincial in-service training for teachers, and we have been fighting for 6 years. I am the assistant coordinator of the New Island Provincial Secondary Schools in service, and this has been our fight since for the last 16 years. Language spoken, main language, although we have 23 spoken different languages in the province, our main language seems to be Pidgin, which holds the 90% of the language in our school. That is a barrier to all the schools. We are facing a lot of problem with language speaking, and so during the in-services, especially the cluster-based in-services, we have tasked teachers to work on policies in regard to English speaking, especially in the province. We all know, those of us who have been traveling to New Island, we all know that when you get there, the greeting is in Pidgin. The speaking to you is in Pidgin. Everything is done in Pidgin. We are very good Pidgin speakers. So it is a problem. The downfall in education for our province is on the English language. We need support in terms of probably in services to enhance the capacity, the human resource that can support English speaking for our province. Teacher shortage and support seems to be another reason. Welfare for the teachers is declining for my province, maybe due to geographical location and other factors. The support for teachers are not there. Some teachers are still sleeping in Morata houses. Some teachers, for example, in my school, I have put in 3 teachers to a small house, a single house. I have not respected their rights. I have not considered their welfare. But what can I do? So the welfare is something that is very much considered on my end as I am speaking and as the principal of a school. Maybe the policies that are in place for teacher welfare, it must be improved. to ensure that fairness is considered to all other areas, especially the islands that are far off from the mainland. Teacher professional development is one area whereby it also includes the teaching practices and the new graduates that are coming out from the universities, teacher universities. I'd like to extend a warm gratitude to UOG for coming to our schools in the province and at least securing space for teacher training. We have also analyzed that from the universities that are coming, the new graduates that are coming to our schools, we've also realized that a couple of universities are not too standard in terms of codes of ethics. We are happy with UOG. That's the reason why every time we would want to ensure that we must have teachers coming from UOG. Thank you, UOG. I am not going to be blunt, but I have to say this, that Channel has been giving us disciplined teachers, and they are the sciences and the maths in the country. We have, through the province, written a letter of expression for the kind of teachers that are coming out of St. Peter's Channel College. We hope that the letters we have written will improve the kind of professionalism that is being taught there, so that they are trained well and they come out to the field to assist us in the schools. For UOG, we are very, very happy, because when a teacher comes to us, we see standard in the student teachers. Maybe we give a round of applause to UOG for producing good student teachers. Infrastructure is another problem that we have been facing. Maybe because we are far from the mainland. Maybe because we are far from Port Moresby, and so infrastructure is something that all schools in the province are yet to come to in good terms with people at the education department to ensure that buildings go up in consideration of the populations that we have in our schools. For my school, I was privileged to have tax credit scheme to assist in terms of building. So if you have visited Madina Girls Secondary School, I will say that I seem to be I am the only school that is PATO standard in terms of building and infrastructure. I feel for my other sister schools and brother schools. When we talk about infrastructure in the principals meeting, these teachers, the principals, they fight about it. Because I'll say it in Pidgin. Ask him go, ask him stop yet, ask him now yet, ino come yet. Taso niwailan mi plaza talk, ino wrong yet. Taso li wrong pinis. The change in curriculum. With the change in curriculum, this year seemed to be the year of implementation for us. Coincidentally, in the beginning of this year, there was still awareness going on when other provinces were doing implementation already, and they are into 2 years of, or 2 to 3 or 4 years of implementation. Unfortunately for us, we are behind the schedules and the policy implementation from the Department of Education as well as TSC. My last on the GFEP, the government free education policy. To date, as I speak, the third quarter has not reached our school accounts. We can now know the delay. It takes 2 to 3 weeks into a term to wait for government funding. And most of the time, we ensure that to ensure that food is there, ration is there for the students, we go to, we often make agreements with the Asian businesses that are there so that they can help us to collect. Later on, we can repay what we have in due. It has been a norm for us. With the location, food and water is scarce. So we entirely depend on GFEP for operations, daily operations especially. With water, most schools are now using drilled water because there is no access to water. With food, we know New Ireland can only grow saksak, nappies. And so when do we have the time to go and look for saksak, Paitim saksak? And when do we have the time to go and fish? When we have students that are sitting and waiting for us in the classrooms. So we all depend on rice as ration. When GFEP is not forthcoming, we do not have rice. So in the beginning of the year, we were told that if GFEP does not come, it is not your private business. Close the schools. It is very hard as I speak. The other problem that we face is because there are so many schools that expect or that are remote, we expect DSAs at the end of the year. Most times, the DSAs, which are disadvantaged allowances, do not reach us. And the wait can be for 2 to 3 years. Just that 4,000 kina they put up on the board the other time. Thank you, TSC. But all in all, we have performed, the province has performed, and we have raised our standard to the 5th on provincial chart. For the province, we are on 5th in the country as a province. That is for New Ireland province. We know we can make a difference in all our schools, and that is the reason why we were made to be teachers. I'd like to say thank you for hearing me out on the challenges that I have just presented. I know there are more solutions than these problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Madina, Secondary in New Ireland Province, for all the wonderful experiences and stories you have to tell us. All of you, thank you to the participants in front. Okay, as I've said, I will allow for 2 comments, comments, questions, too. Chancellor, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Okay, I'd like to. I am a public policy analyst and specialist, and my favorite word is always reform. I listen to Secretary Education. I also listen to TSC Chairman about the hardships our teachers faced around the country. These hardships are not something new. Am I correct? These hardships are real and they've been here. Are we going to talk about it year in, year out? There are two approaches to public policy and how to make things happen. One is you allow that natural process for a development to take place. That you look at the trend of the past, the practices of the past, you have all the data, you conclude that this is the trend. I am assuming that in the next 10 years, we are going to go in that direction. That's a natural process. But there is one thing that's called deliberate intervention. If it's going to take 20 years to reach a destination, you have to find a way to get there in 10 years. That is a deliberate policy. Now, the hardships that we have mentioned here has been around for too long. We're not going to talk about it. The way forward, I see, I'd like to recommend to the conference to put forward to the government is our rural-based teachers. They are equally trained. The teachers are equally trained. They are equipped to teach our children. As we are all teachers, we know that without teachers, without better education, the future will not be good. All strategic visions are assumptions. We have to make it happen. And I am seeing there's a time for us to make a deliberate intervention into the teachers' condition, especially those who are sent to the rural areas. They miss a lot of opportunities. There's a big disparity between teachers who are teaching in the urban and semi-urban areas, and there are teachers who are teaching in one, according to TSC chairman, remoter, and maybe remotest. So the question is, are we going to allow this disparity continue to exist in this country from next year onwards? And I would say these disparities are real and they've been here for the last 50 years. Are we going to allow it to go on for the next 50 years? Or are we going to address them? My recommendation to the conference is one, we have to have a special policy for rural communities, rural teachers. And that policy must capture the welfare of teachers based in the rural areas. Sometimes we have to discriminate because if you don't have a discriminate policy, everything is not always equal. We have to identify where the problem is, and I would like to recommend this reform in the education sector in the TSC to make sure we have a policy that can actually address the specific needs to balance this disparity, which is part of our country for a long time. So that's my recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor. The last one, Professor Malbo. Probably you can come here. The mic is not working.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to commend all the different speakers for your heartfelt um, comments about the realities of what is faced out in our schools. I am making this comment as the chair of the board of our schools in New Ireland, but also as the director of our UOG IDFL. The comment that I'd like to make is that, and I do concur with the point that was made by our chancellor about deliberate intervention. Yes, we cannot just sit here and be talking about the issues over and over. You got to look for ways out. And I know that my boss of IDFL is here. I'd like to say that the deliberate intervention for school principals in the rural areas to UOG has got a program that we offer through the School of IDFL on for educational leadership. And in there are some very good ideas of how to come up with deliberate interventions. If things do not work out, look for ways. As Ms. Bath, my school principal, has explained, yeah, I sit there as the chair of the board, and TSC commissioner mitumisa ay wara wantamal teachers, yeah. But we cannot just speak rhyme. We've got to look for ways. And so our IDFL, we do offer the degree in school management, and there are some ways to make things happen. If you don't have it, I would like to urge school principals because many principals are not trained in management. They've been up through the through the positions, being good classroom teachers or whatever. And so learning how to manage schools is a different entity. And that's where I want to, appeal to all heads of schools in the country. Kisim program Lumiplalo IDFL and learn how to make things in a way you don't have. So, Chancellor, deliberate intervention is the way to go for rural schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll have the final comment from Mr. Parua. Yep, the mic is here.
Sure. But I've been out of the system for Papua New Guinea for 30 years, so I'm really deeply saddened to hear from the four speakers today. I really appreciate your contributions and presentation this morning. I think one of the key points that struck me is I think the first Pagnum principle has highlighted the issue of the confusion of the many policy changes and the changes to the curriculum. I wanted to really highlight that the UN, UNESCO, and the UN system of advising the governments on any policy changes. Firstly, we start with what is called you have to do a comprehensive review of what has happened. So there are processes that I think Papua New Guinea has taken the shortcut to find a quick fix to some very deep-rooted problems, you see. So this is where now we are in here. And the UN standard process of working with the governments is that the governments must make formal requests to agencies like UNESCO, UNICEF, which are technical agencies. So if there's any systemic problem in any subsector, whether it's teacher education, whether it's curriculum, whether it's education policy, etc. So the international standards of carefully assessing the situation, then you undertake a comprehensive review, then you make policy recommendations, and then slowly implement them in phases. The problems that is being alluded by the principles is it is very truly, it can become very confusing. It can disrupt the system, you see. So Papua New Guinea has simply taken the shortcut. They didn't want to follow the international practices and the standards for carefully analyzing the issues and problems. Then you undertake what is called a comprehensive review, make policy recommendations, and then you implement the recommendations in a very careful way. So this is one thing I wanted. And the UN system, UNESCO, we have all the guidelines to review education sectors. We have all the guidelines to review curriculum. We have all the guidelines to review teacher policies. By the way, we have a very good latest teacher policy guideline that is in your document. You will see that. Why we have the guidelines is to ensure that when they are, the existing policy has never addressed the issues, whether it's teachers or any other topic in education, you use the UN guideline to review. So if there's a gap, then you now try to address it and fix it. So I think from my 30 years of working in many regions and countries, the Papua New Guinea government, I think I'm not criticizing, I'm talking as a Papua New Guinea citizen, not as a UN employee, is the UN's role is never taken very seriously in this country. Now, don't get mixed up with the UN agencies are not development agencies like USAID or any other development partners that you have in this country. The UN's role is basically to come to give policy advice and guidance, building. The third function is to strengthen the standards. Now, you're talking about the shift in the grades. UNESCO has this document called International Standards Classification of Education Systems, ISCAD. The global guide is there, you see. Before you shift from 6-4 to the different levels that you wanted to institute, we have the International Standard Classification of Education System Guide. That's a global guide for every education ministry in the world. So some of the guidelines that we have never been followed by Papua New Guinea government. And I have advised many education ministers in many countries. They follow exactly UNESCO. You see, China is a very good example. Every advice that UNESCO has given, they followed and they are very successful. Universal basic education is an agenda UNESCO has promoted for over 50 years. Africa and Papua New Guinea, many countries are now still struggling because you did not follow the framework that UNESCO has provided, you see. So we still have many children that are dropping out of school, unable to go to school. It's because the proper planning, putting in the funding, paying teachers with good salaries. So the basic things are not done. So we will continue to struggle because Papua New Guinea, we're trying to find a quick fix to some of the very deep-rooted problems of our education system. So I think the current approach that the principals are now highlighting will fundamentally create more and more confusion from what I'm hearing. But what I'm trying to say here is that there are international standards and guidelines and systems that we can fix this country. We do not have a shortcut to fix it. You look at, for example, the poverty alleviation thing. China has now eradicated 700 million people out of poverty. How we did that? They said education is the key to getting these people out of poverty. So by 2019, 700 million people, they got them out of poverty because they emphasized on education. Education is the key to poverty alleviation, education and skills development. So I think some of the lessons that we can learn from those countries, I'm really touched by what they're saying because our problems are not being addressed, and then it's getting worse and worse. I think this is very. I think the last point I wanted to add is I think I missed the session this morning on provincial education advisors. In every country, the key functions of education administration are centralized. So the central authority, the central level, the Ministry of Education has to have control over the entire thing of the education system. Now, Papua New Guinea made the biggest mistake to decentralize education powers. So it's now very good that we will put it in the declaration. And I agree with all the education former and also current provincial education advisors that the education advisor functions must be now centralized because the whole system, especially in the highlands now, is being too politicized. And education is kicked around like a football. You see. So our teachers are being affected. The school infrastructure is affected. The funding of it's very sad to hear even yesterday, there's no money for in-service week. This is unbelievable. In-service week is a very important period for our teachers to come to upskill, reskill, learning about new things. During my time, we were really always looking forward to the in-service week. But now I'm told there's no money for in-service. It's really sad, Mr. Teaching Service Commissioner. I think we need to look at how we allocate money for even the teaching service in-service week, or now they're calling it provincial in-service week. I think the government must allocate money for this because some of the changes, we could have addressed them in the in-service week. The teachers could say, okay, these are some of the issues and the changes in the curricula and many other things. But there's no in-service or provincial in-service or national in-service week. So how will the teachers be able to express those things? So I think we need to ensure that the education functions are now centralized. There's no country in the world that has decentralized education powers. We're so crazy country, basically. I've been to almost all four corners of the world. I can tell you, no country in the world has decentralized the education function. We should now centralize. You go to any country, the education is very important for the country. So they will never decentralize any powers to some small government or provincial government, any district that do not have the capacity, not have the budget, anything to manage an education system. It's the central government's function. So I'm a bit emotional, but I'm speaking as a Papua New Guinean at heart. And I want our teachers to be having better conditions and contribute to the quality of education in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Parua. Those comments brings this session to an end. So I would like to thank the 4 participants here, experienced principal, and we wish you well in your running of your various schools. Thank you.
Thank you. I can hear many positive comments about this presentation. So let us all give the presenters and the chairperson a big round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. Very enriching sharing. Um, we will proceed with the next forum number 4, which is sharing experiences of inspectors. And I'd like to invite Mr. Michael Omingu with the School of Education to come and lead this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Lady of the conference, and the important dignitaries, UNESCO, Chancellor University of Goroka, and all the important guests we have this morning. Wow, that session was very informative and eye-opening. Before we go on, just quickly about myself. I'm the former principal of Enga Teachers College. Yeah, saw it up and going, and it is now one of the major foundation of the Enga University campus. Rather, Enga University. Yes, innovative university. Yes. We would like to go on with this session. Yeah. Where there is a teacher, where there is a school, an inspector has to go. And I think the experiences are going to be very similar. And we have here on the panel who will share their experiences. We have a list here. Mr. Lawrence Suto. Mr. Lawrence, are you here? Okay, thank you. Mr. Joshua Tupa. Joshua, not here. Mr. Southern Region, Mr. Ale Asi Pali. Thank you. Inspector New Guinea Islands region. Do we have an inspector here? No. What about Momase region? Do we have an inspector here? No. We have. Okay, we don't have a representative from the Momase region and the New Guinea Islands region, but we have one from the southern region. Is that correct? I'd like to use my discretion if I can invite the Teaching Service Chairman Commissioner. Teaching Service Chairman, would you like to take the stage too for this discussion? Thank you. Thank you. We will proceed. Standard officers play a critical role, don't they? Without this function of administrative system, we would not know our achievements, outcomes, strengths, and areas for improvement. They are very crucial, aren't they? It is the controlling function of a system, and their functions are crucial to see if quality is there. Quality is the byproduct, is the end result of a series of activities. And without the completion of this series of activities by players in a system, we won't achieve quality. Quality has become a catchword today, but what is really quality and how do we arrive at quality? Quality cannot drop down from the heavens and cannot pop up from the ground. It is a byproduct of certain activities that play. I am sure their role cannot be underestimated. I am sure our sister nations in the Pacific for quality assurance have their system too, and we have ours. And that's why we have this panel here this morning to share their experiences. Standard officers, our conference team is on Teacher Challenge. What is your experience pertaining to this theme facing the teaching profession to see standards are met in relation to the very challenges that we have in our system? And on that note, I'd like to invite the inspector, Mr. Ale Apisai, for 10 minutes to give your experience. What are the issues that you are facing as an inspector playing this role? Thank you, sir.
Diplomas Burkim Bakside Lumilo Putin when might go down, sir. Thank you. So much have been said about Western Province. Thank you. I appreciate the previous speakers, the TSC chairman, Samson Wangiomi, and our brother, principal or the deputy at Asaroka. I thank you all for sharing much of your experience. You are not just talking from hearsay, but you have experienced your career out there in that part of the country. And I'm here representing Western Province and the Southern region as a whole. I may look young in this profession as an inspector, but the experiences I share are not that young. They are experiences that are existing and you may have had it already. So I will just celebrate few from the inspection's point of view. I'm representing primary inspection in Delta Fly District of Western Province. Our headquarters is Balimo. Previously it was Middle Fly, and currently it's named as a Delta Fly as a new electorate in Western Province. Western Province is vast in a landmass. We have 4 districts, that's North Fly, South Fly, Middle Fly, and the Delta Fly. I will also, in my presentation, represent my other sister provinces, Gulf, Oro, Milne Bay, and Central as well, because much of the geography are also similar to what I have in Western Province as well. And I thank the 2 speakers who have shared their experiences. They are also from CIPIC, but the environment, the features are also similar to what they have in the area. From the top of the mountains to the valleys and to the swamps, to the atolls, the Papua New Guinea flag still flies up. And there's only one person that flies that flag up, and that is a teacher. If the government service cannot reach out there, only one person carries that flag and flies it up there. The second person who goes after a teacher goes in a 5-year period, and those are ballot boxes that go After 5 years is over, it disappears. So you see the experiences of the teachers, they are also similar to what the inspectors also experience. Western province and the southern region can be challenging, but not difficult. The experiences are not difficult. The places you want to reach are not difficult. You can reach, you can paddle, you can walk, you can fly. If it means to swim, at the end of the day, you still reach the journey. So it's not difficult, it's just challenging. Many people do not like to get out to that place because of that word difficult. But as you make your walking or journey going, eventually you will find that the most rewarding places are those places in the remote places. And I thank our TSC chairman. He came out to be who he is because he came out from those challenging environments. I'm a teacher as well. I have a spouse who is also a teacher, but both of us do not teach, stay in one place. My spouse and the family are living in a town, they're at Daru Secondary School, while I'm serving in the remote school. And that's how I became an inspector, because I chose to serve in that remote place. And I just let go my family privileges. So having to say that, if you happen to get down and arrive one day in Daru Island, there's an expression they will tell you, welcome to the island of love and divorce. The Daruans will tell you, welcome to the island of love and divorce. For married people, you may take it the way you want to take it. But if you are a service provider and a bureaucrat getting out there, it means a lot. Because of the situations we face, the experiences we go through, many people who go out there to provide services do not last long. They just go for the love of, at the first sight, love at first sight of that place, the beauty. After a few months or 1 year, they leave that place and go out again, just like you are in love at first sight, and in the next moment, you divorce that lady and goes out. So that's how we take it. I'm just 8 months old in the role of an inspector, and what I'm presenting is not just from me alone, but I have also consulted my other fellow inspectors from the secondary and the primary as well. And what I'm going to present is from what they have also inspired me with. My secondary school inspector for Central just left to the airport this morning because his ticket is booked for today, plus those are the principals who were on the schedule because of their flights, they have to leave this morning. I also firstly, thanking the UOG top management team, Mr. Robert Parua, UNESCO, TAC Chairman, Mr. Samson Wangiomi. Thank you very much for making this, and the organizing committee for organizing this forum so that we all come and build a network so that we hear from different angles, different experiences, and we make a way forward to address this situation. Papua New Guinea is celebrating its 50 years anniversary, and we are just half a century old now, whereas the other provinces have proceeded on. They're already going ahead with the implementation of some of those policies, whereas for my region and my province, we are still struggling. Decentralization of powers have really greatly affected the service delivery in my province and in my area. The treasury or the finance policies that have come into effect has also affected the service delivery for education. As I'm speaking today, I haven't received any funding for inspection for first quarter and second quarter up till now. And I have not reached many of my schools. I've been just using my own resources to move to schools that are accessible along the riverside. And in our district, in primary school, we have only 2 inspectors, but we have too many elementary schools or preschool or EC and primary schools as well. So we are unable to make 3 visits in a year because the elementaries too, they don't have their own inspectors. They are just put under the primary inspections as well. So when we double the primary and the elementary, the workload is so much. So as the secondary inspection, just this year, we had 2 secondary inspectors for Western Province. Previously, we had only 1, that was Mr. Duaba, and Mr. Ludu has taken over now. And starting from Tabubil all the way, by the time he reaches Balimo, the deadline lapses. So this type of reporting system, we don't make 2 or 3 visits to compile reports of our teachers. That's for secondary, and likewise for the primary as well. To reach a school, you have to pedal, you have to walk, or you have to fly. We have disadvantaged areas, especially the borderline schools. Many times inspections do not reach them. And most of the schools are not monitored. We do not know how they operate. Our province is also sharing border with 2 international border with Australia and Indonesia. We also share border with the Gulf, Southern Islands, and Hela. And most of our schools along the border, they cannot access Kiunga, Balimo, or Daro, those main centers. Those that are up at the border of Hela, they take days or weeks to reach Tari to do their shopping, and they walk back. They cannot walk down to Balimo because they are going to walk kilometers a week and then get on a canoe again to reach Balimo. The fuel cost is around 2,000 kina for 1 fuel drum. So to cut the cost down, they have to just walk from boundary of Wawe Falls or Mount Busavi and then walk down to Tari. We also have schools at the border close to West Irian or at the border of Southern Islands. These are unreached places, no road links. So the secondary inspectors, they reach those places with chopper and plane. But that again, that's if the funding is adequate, they do that. If there's no funding, they don't go. We are hearing or experiencing most of the security reasons affecting our schools and the health services out there. Most of our workers are kidnapped for ransom. Recently, in Middleflight district, a head teacher and a wife and a child were kidnapped. And these are people who are going down from the highlands region for search of trading drug, for guns and all this. We had also an experience of health workers with their spouses also kidnapped in the same place. And the authorities were notified. They wanted money so that they will release those kidnappers. As soon as I became the inspector, I built a network of teachers in my district in Delta Fly, which I created the WhatsApp platforms. I got all the contacts of all the teachers in my district, even getting the authorities at the PHQ and NDOE, everybody into that WhatsApp. So what is happening in the country, I'm sharing it there, informing the rest of the teachers. While they are in the remote place, they also having access to what is going on. So my stay, I'm only the one attending this session, but my teachers and schools and leaders in my province are also watching and hearing, listening to what is going on, because I'm posting everything that is going on. So they are also aware of this. Recently, before I came this way, there was another group of these criminals, type of criminals, making their way from Mount Busavi down to Wawe Falls. They arrived in one village and they started kidnapping the locals, and they're asking for 2,000 kina. So the teachers in those particular schools have to alert us quickly by posting on the teachers' WhatsApp page. So we alerted the authorities quickly. So the defense and the police were flown to those locations. So places that we cannot reach, we are just making little progress to reach them through the mobile network and the platforms that we have establishing. Funding is inadequate for inspections. We don't, even the fundings come out, but it's not adequate for us in these remote places to reach the remote places. We also have no inspections, have no resources, no dinghy, no engine, no vehicles to get on time to visit the schools. When we are given 2 weeks or a week for visit, we don't reach most of the schools during those 2 weeks. Today's society is a monetary society. Previously, people were just giving things freely. Today, you have to pay for the service that you provide. So the house that you go and sleep, you have to pay the rent. The dinghy, the canoe that you go, you have to pay the hire. The fuel costs are very sky high. So the funding that the inspectors receive is not enough to reach many schools and do their inspection reports on time. Many of our schools reach only Kiunga and Daru for the GTFS banking and other banking services, because we don't have banks in Middle Fly, we don't have bank in Delta Fly, we don't have airports as well. We have only these outstation airstrips. So the struggles that you have had from the other teachers who have shared earlier on are also similar to the inspections. The inspections, we don't have houses of our own. We are living in other people's houses, institutional houses. The last houses that were built were in 2006, and they are all deteriorating. As I'm speaking, I'm not living in the inspector's house. I'm living in one of the school's house. And inspections is a regulatory body. They are independent. They must be neutral people, and they must be provided resource of their own so that they carry out their job properly. We using the institutional properties or resources, it's just like we are compromising with the schools, the school leadership, the teachers. Many times when it comes to charging, we cannot charge the schools or those principals or head teachers. Why? Because they are providing the resources and we are just staying there. So we also like sort of compromising our positions. The weather conditions also affect the movement of inspectors to and fro for the provinces, also to the district and the schools. When it's rough weather, the waves are just 2.5 to 3 meters high, which cannot make a visit to those schools on the islands and even across the Fly River side. When it's, most of the schools are accessible by the river systems and by sea. and also sharing the same experience of those schools out in Millen Bay, especially those island schools that are far away from the mainland. They also have the same similar experience where they cannot have access to the towns when the sea is so rough. Even to get the supplies and get the GTFS funding on time to the schools, it's very excessive, meaning that you're going to hire bigger boats to get your supply to those schools. And the amount of GTFS that schools have been receiving was not adequate to get this exercise going. Maybe you will do only one round or two in a year, and you cannot make runs quarterly to those remote schools. So as the inspections, they only go one visit only. We do not do 2 or 3 visits as required. Many teachers, because of those issues, they decide to remain in the semi-urban areas or urban areas. They don't like, when they are appointed to live to those remote places, they don't go. If they go, they leave their families behind and they go. They stay for only weeks or a term, and then when they come for good. And then most of our kids are left unattended to. Even the teachers coming to get their salaries or pays, they leave as early as Monday of a fortnight or Tuesday. When they come to town, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they stay for weeks and then they travel another week again to the school. So the students are like missing 2 to 3 weeks of learning. So the deployment of teachers, the recruitment exercise, the province does allocate funding for teacher recruitment. But because of these issues, many teachers or many new graduates that we recruit, having known the situations in our provinces, in our district, in the Western Province, they don't like going. They get the tickets. Our provincial government, even the district education board, pays for their tickets, gives them their allowance, but they go disappear in Port Moresby. They don't reach the schools. So the province have wasted almost 100 or over 100,000 of recruitment. Now the principals of the schools are making their business to come to the central locations in Port Moresby to receive the teachers, and they take those teachers themselves again to the schools. Professional development training, most of the teachers in the remote places are missing on these opportunities in services, workshops, training. So they decide to move closer to places where they can have access to this type of training. Deployment of teachers. The Provincial Education Board is the appointing authority in our province, but the appointments that are done as late as January, and doesn't give enough time for teachers to move out to their new locations. So many times the teachers decide to remain in their old places and then letting go those other schools that they're supposed to go. They have no teacher. What happens? The school closes down. Sometimes as I'm speaking, there are schools that have no teacher. Before I came out here, I carried out a baseline survey for my district. Started from upstream, and I have to follow the river system down to Bamu. And in that baseline survey, we found out that there's only one teacher in a school. And if I am to inspect that teacher, this teacher is running a level 4 or level 5 school when the teacher substantive level is 3. So how do I inspect the teacher? But there's no other person who is willing to go out there. That's the only person who is out there. Most of the teachers who are serving in those places are the local teachers of those places, because no other teachers who are appointed from other places are willing to take up those posts. Infrastructures, the only infrastructures existing in our districts are the ones that were provided by the late politician Roy Biema, and after he passed on, we haven't schools have not put up new infrastructures as yet. Why? Because the GTFS funding that is received is just too little. If it's too little, they don't go for banking for the first quarter. They wait until money builds up. Second quarter, if the balance is still low, they'll wait because the only place they will go is Daru. And to go out to Daru, it's very, very excessive. Schools are spending from 6,000 to 10,000 just for a banking trip. And for a school receiving 12,000 as a GTFS funding, most of the 10,000 is gone for that banking trip alone. What will you do with the 2,000 kina when you return? So these are real-time issues that we are facing, but we are beginning to make progress. At the end of this month or next month, the province has taken up a stand to host an education forum in Daru, which we are inviting all the stakeholders, the politicians, the divisional staff, education officers, and the bureaucrats from different sectors in the country, the provincial education advisor and the provincial administrator and the governor are hosting this forum to have a stock of how far we have come after 50 years of anniversary. If other provinces, if the country is celebrating 50 years as a province in terms of education, what are we going to showcase? So the purpose of that forum is we are trying to do a post-mortem of ourselves and see where we have gone down and make way forward from there. So that's why we have to carry out, as inspectors, we have to carry out baseline studies to get the facts and figures in preparation for that forum. The PNG Sustainable Development and the Kokoda Track Foundation are some of those development partners that are in the province, and they are already making an impact in our province. And eventually, we will make progress one day. I'm pretty sure we are making a start. In my district, the Sustainable Development has built an education hub, which we have got started the food programs for both grade 10 and 12s, and those that have left school, plus those teachers and the government workers upgrading their marks again. And the Sustainable has also established a teachers college and a nursing college in my district, Delta Fly district. And they have rolled out some of these food programs and the outreach programs to the schools in the district. So the in-service programs are now captured in the campus. As I'm speaking, they've started with the elementary teachers, taking them through the flexible mode or in-service program to get their qualification up to primary school teachers. So these are some progress that we are making as a province. And after the forum, we should highlight some of these issues to make sure the SDP or those development partners also help us to get the services reach out to those remote places, like in terms of helping us with transport or chartering of planes and chopper, which they are also doing with their programs only. I just want to conclude. I want to make certain recommendations here. If the incentives for remote schools, I know previous speakers have already highlighted that if incentive for these remote schools can be improved, apart from the disadvantage allowance. Disadvantage allowance is only annual package. But I suggest if it can be included into their fortnightly salaries so that it's more attractive rather than having them waiting to get that at the end of the year. And also maybe increase their salaries for those teachers who are in the remote places. The inspectors, even though we are inspectors and we look like we are bosses, but our pays are still low as just level 5 teachers in the schools. Most of the level 7, 8, or 9, or 10 principals or head teachers are highly paid than the inspectors. And because they are getting a highly paid, they sort of bully us as well. So if the inspector space can be improved as well, even their living conditions, they must have their own houses, they must have their own transports to reach to schools on time. I also recommend that the department can also strengthen the networking part of it to make sure that there's a collaboration done between the policies that are made out there and the manner in which these policies should be implemented in the districts, in the schools. Because the schools, the teachers are only monitored by the inspectors. And if the inspector is not aware of that policy and the teacher in the classroom is already aware, it doesn't make a sense there. So likewise, how the universities have highlighted in their previous presentations, any policy that is passed in terms of education, the educational institution must be made aware of, so as the inspectors as well, so that we all drive it from top down to the bottom. Instead, the teachers are aware of, and we are left off-guarded. Increase of manpower. Geographically isolated places, if the number of inspectors can be increased, we cannot have 1 or 2 only for this type of places because it's very, very challenging. So one inspector cannot cover more than 50 or 60 schools in 2 weeks' time. So if the number of inspections, both in primary and secondary, can be increased. Also, in appointment of inspectors, if the department can also take a careful look about their age and the medical conditions. Well, most of the inspectors that are appointed, because of their seniority and their experience, they are appointed, but the age is also another factor. What good will they do when they are about to reach the retirement age? Many times to reach those difficult places, because of their medical conditions, they cannot go. So me as a young person coming in, I'm young, I'm energetic, so I'm happy to walk. Even there's no transport, I'm still visiting the schools. And I'm going and catching teachers doing, things that they are not supposed to do. Even fortnight days, they're drinking, and just a week before I came, I went and held a couple of teachers drinking at the waterfront at Awaba. I think I took Mr. Rui 2 months ago to that place, so he knows where I went and caught those teachers. They never expected me, but I did. I just got on one of the dinghy and went visited the schools. These teachers left the schools as early as 10 o'clock, and they left for shopping. So I went and asked the kids, "When did your teacher leave you?" Said 10 o'clock. So I have to follow them until I came and found that they were drinking. As soon as I went and put the dinghy right there, everybody disappeared. All that drinking sense gone, they came back to the normal sense. So if there's an inspector just like me, then we should be working in partnership, like reaching out places on time, even making incidental visit at a time so we get accurate, do the right reporting instead of just making one report. So this incidental visit is also very helpful for me. So in the event that I'm not given an opportunity to visit those schools 3 times, at least these incidental reports are also backing me to write a report. the early childhood. We have elementary that is spaced out, and we have early childhood coming in. So I also recommend if the early childhood can also have an inspector of their own. I'm already feeling the heavy load of work that is upon me, covering the primary schools and the early childhood or the elementaries. The way the elementary teachers were appointed was not through merit, like these are community-oriented positions. So community found that this were like, they finished grade 10 or 8 or 6, they just recommended them, but they're already in the system. And that's I think the foundation part that we fail. So today in primary and high school, secondary, even at university, we are doing a blame game. You are not speaking the correct thing. You are not writing the right English. But the foundation down there was the one that we did not do properly. So we did not build a correct foundation right there. So that's the effects that we are feeling right up here. So with this early childhood education coming into play, I think I'm glad that now the system has changed, and the trainers who are getting into early childhood are grade 12s, and those that are attending and graduating with diploma program. So eventually we will see improvement with that. But for inspections, I want inspections for early childhood to be appointed. Thank you. Much has been said about Western Province, my province. In today's declaration, please highlight Western Province in your recommendation. Give me something so that when I'm presenting a report in my forum, I must also present a good news, a good, better outcome for Western Province to my province when I'm representing the province in my forum in the province. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Asipali, for that overview of the issues and the challenges faced by inspectors in Southern region, and particularly you shared your experience of Western Province. Some of us don't know Western Province. I had the privilege of being engaged by University of South Australia to conduct an evaluation of the CRIP materials. And I tell you, flying over the province, it is vast, vast, flat land and waterlogged. And it's very, very difficult. And your experiences are real. And given Papua New Guinea's geographical features, I tell you, it's different. And they are different in different provinces. Yeah. Thank you very much for those, the overview of the challenges you face and very important recommendations highlighted. I would like to now go on with the next speaker. He was a former secondary school inspector, and he's now the chairman, Teaching Service Commission. Mr. Wangiome, you have 10 minutes, and I'm sure you have a broad view and understanding of what inspection is, given your role, previous role as an inspector, and now the TSC chairman. Thank you, Mr. Wangiome.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking as a former school inspector and not as the chairman of the Teaching Service Commission, but I want to share my experiences again from Western Province. And the National Education System has secondary school inspectors. They have basic school inspectors who now take on the elementary schools teachers and the primary school teachers. But there are elementary school schools slowly are going to be phased out and absorbed into primary schools. We have also TVET inspectors inspecting our vocational centers. And of course, there's the special education inspectors looking after our IERCs. Yeah, before I got this job, I've been a secondary school inspector for almost 10 years. I trained two inspectors, late Nauli Duaba of Western Province and John Barrow, who used to be the secondary school inspector based in Eastern Highlands. Inspectors are said to be the eyes and the ears of the secretary. I do not know if this is an understatement or an overstatement. And I served as secondary school inspector starting in Western Province. And I'm happy to say that I mentored the former late Deputy Secretary, Joseph Moide, late Joseph Moide, who passed on. A real friend and a brother. When I was going to make that offer, all of a sudden my language changed and I was calling him mate. And him being intelligent, he said, "No, language is changing." And then when I told him, "You're going to be an inspector," our lunch was on his school bonnet vehicle, and he just got all the there. But yes, I served in Western Province, Gulf Province, Southern Highlands Province, in Hela, and of course, the City of Bright Lights, NCD. Definitely, the inspection system is as it is. Manpower is the biggest challenge. You heard Secretary say that here, and I also say that too as well. And the system, particularly the structural reform, has outgrown. There are more schools to inspect, and if you like, the inspectors are burned out. You see, I'm from the old school of inspections. What Secretary presented is the way to go. In Western Province, I had a privilege of going to Ayambak. There you are, West Ayambak teacher. I flew in a chopper, made the feasibility studies. There was no road, and I recommended with a PEB not to think about that school. Just keep it until there is road connectivity. But I opened the school without a road. All right, and of course, Ningrum High School. When I moved to NCD, Kila Kila High School became a secondary school. So then Kiunga Secondary School, we worked on it. You see, at that time when the reforms were coming, the department was already placing us in strategic locations. They were already training us and telling us this is what's going to happen, right? You wouldn't believe this, me being an inspector, when the elementary school was introduced, I refused to send my children to elementary schools. I sent them instead to primary school, except for the last two. They ended up at elementary schools in NCD, Wadston. Yes, and I want to share this experience as my experience in Western Province. All schools were flying in schools, and the only school that I was able to drive to was Tobobil. I went down to Awaba Secondary School, then high school, and came by road, by boat, only to find that Airlines PNG was not going to go. And guess where I slept? At a hospital ward at Baltimore. And was kept warm by mosquitoes. And it was a nightmare. All right. So that's how it was. Another very remote school I inspected, I shared with you, was Kaintiba High School, a fly-in school. Would go through Leh, get on North Coast Aviation, through to what's that place? I forgot. And then onto Kaintiba. The strip, landing strip was like this. But when I miss my flight, if the weather is bad, the plane doesn't go, it means I have to walk from Kaintiba Airstrip for another 3 hours to climb the hill up to Kaintiba High School. Now the system has grown. You look at the challenges that the inspectors are going to have now. And in my time, there was plenty of money. We were well funded, we were well trained, and we were picked. Not because of only of our qualification, but we were picked because we can manage a school, we can manage the school finances, we can manage the community, we can manage the students and everything. But I'm sorry, I do not know, but now anyone can be picked to become a school inspector. So training of school inspectors is very, very important. They're going to know how to write a school report, how to write inspection reports, how to write personal inspection reports, and all that. I went into for my associateship. At that time, I had associateship. And my trainer was late Gapi Yamo. He said to me, "You will be trained this year. If by the end of the year you do not succeed, back to the school." I said, "Mr. Yamo, I will not let you down. I will not let Mr. Baki down." And so twice in a year, my trainer would take me from Kiunga down, first one to do the advisory report. We always do advisory reports, school visits at my time. And that was not only secondary schools, primary schools, TVET inspectors, everyone, they had an advisory visit, round number one. So they would bring the inspector in. First round, he takes you on an advisory report, a school visit. He does all the work, you do all the observation. Then he says, "Go back and you do it now yourself." All right? So that's for 3 months. And then the next 3 months, you visit your own schools. You write a report and you send it. And your report is the appraisal that they're going to do. They bring you back in the next 3 months, right, second half of the year, and then they take you to do writing school reports and, writing inspection reports and all that. They say, "Go back." And you write the teacher inspection reports now yourself. And the beauty was your mentor will always be there when you do your first advisory reports and when you are doing your first inspection reports. He will be there guiding you along. I had this experience with an Australian teacher at Sugary National High School. We had done his report. I did the report myself, and he rewrote my report using a red ink biro. And so when it came, that was when I did not know whether to cry or to walk out of the room, but Gapiyamo had his eyes on me. And every sentence was challenged. Every sentence was challenged in red. I stood up and I said to him, "Mr. Gallop, if you don't like this inspection system, if you don't like it, go back to Australia." And he said, "What? You heard me. Either you do what I say or I will fail you as a teacher in PNG." as a first experience. Another was another one where I got so uptight and I said to that teacher, I am sorry. She said, in Australia, we have already done away with this inspection system, and you still have it. And I said, yeah, we still have it because we were colonized by Australians. But I said one powerful thing. I said, I will say it in Pidgin. You blah pek, na you blah lusim, na pek, you blah smell it. And I said, I will report you to the bishop and you'll be out of here. And I made sure she went. It's tough. But now it's tougher because of teacher attitude. Teacher like a professionalism. All right. And the inspector is right. We have vowed not to get schools to fund our trips because we're going to compromise. And so you see, it is a huge job. Inspectors are few, schools are many, teachers are many, many more. But with the intervention that the Secretary President was, I believe, can be able to ease down all that. And so that's Western Province, that's Gulf. Southern Highlands, it was the toughest time. That was when late Hami Yawari, the governor, introduced free education policy. And my job, his job, is to monitor standards. It was tough. We visited the schools. The schools didn't have money. There was no money going. And there were two instances where one teacher walked up to me, held me by my shirt and said, get out of here. And I said to the teacher, you look at the mess that the school is in now, all these tribal fights, classrooms are burned down and things. Excuse me, you chase me out of here. You're chasing the Secretary for Education out of here. And he said, oh, stop, easy. Let's do the work and get it done. In another school at the same time, I had just inspected the school head teacher. There was misappropriation of money. And I am very sorry, the teacher had a heart issue. And that place was very cold. And the head teacher was literally sweating. I said to him, sir, we'll put it off. We'll come back some other time. But I did that report and gave him an unsatisfactory report. All right? When I went in, the tribesmen were there. They were all surrounded the school. Right? You come lo rausin principal lo mi plan. I don't know, me no come lo rausin. And the following week was going to be the grade 10 exams. And they said to me, get out, go. We plan on like Imilo here now. And you know what I said? Mimba go, grade 10 by non-operational exam. Empower me, God. Thank you. Power me, God. Grade 10 by non-operational exam. Oh, sorry, boss. And I stayed. It is challenging now, more challenging than then for our inspectors. Many times at education conferences, I talk for the inspectors. I said, we got to. These are the people who see and make things happen. You go to a very rural, isolated place, You won't find the Department of Foreign Affairs. You won't find the Department of Commerce and whatever. You will find an aid post there with no medicine, but you will find a teacher. I really thank our presenters, the school principals who presented this morning. You touched my heart. You touched my soul. And you touch the whole of me. And I hope the government allows me to stay back and we can see all these things happen. But the Oro provincial administrator shared this with me. He went on a school visit. And there was no government officer there, even from the province. But there was a school. And there were 3 teachers teaching in that school. And the teachers, right? One became the protocol officer. The other one became the master of ceremonies. All right. And I met him and everybody, and then the provincial administrator broke down and he cried. And when he shared that with me, I said, thank you. Finally, I want to say this. The inspectors must be trained. Once they are picked, once they are selected, they must be trained pursuant to the actual reforms that are taking in place. Appointment of inspectors have got to be on merit. Their capacity must be built. Resource them so they can visit our schools, appraise our schools, visit our teachers, and appraise our teachers. That's what we need. And I totally agree. The World Bank has done a review on the inspection system, and the report has come. Actually, it's now on my table to make my comments. And when I go back, I will make that comment and then send them back to you. Please, my appeal to the community and everyone out there is, look at him, Inspector Blayu. Make him become part of you. Look at him, Teacher Blayu. Make the teacher become part of you. For you Southern Highlanders, Hela, I went and drove past Koroba. After visiting Koroba, I thought I'll go to Lekopiago. Lekopiago, and we go close to the place to here. And I went, my goodness, I couldn't go further. Roady pass. We turn him and we come back. I wish I was there at the time when the road is now being built. And so we see that's what we need to do for our inspectors. They are the eyes and the ears of the Secretary for Education. Thank you.
Thank you, former Inspector Mr. Wangi Ome, and currently the TSC Chairman, for your overview of the challenges that inspectors face, as well as giving your experience and making 1 or 2 positive comments to look into the inspector issues. I now allow for, audience, this is a very interesting subject. What department in Papua New Guinea has expanded over the 50 years? Is it health? Is it agriculture? Is it what else? Is it community development that has expanded? Education has expanded from 1975 till now. It is the only enterprise in the country that has expanded very, very rapidly. Hello, audience. And that's why we have teacher shortage. And experts from other fields are now looking for employment in education. And I encourage students and I tell them, if you go into mining engineering or police, you're going to look for work. And if you get into education, you're going to remain in education for 50, 60 plus years. And you're going to benefit economically for those years while in education. So education system has expanded very fast and very rapidly, and that's why we are confronted with many, many situations, and inspection is one of them. And I think by listening to this, to the experiences, I think, and with the developments thus far in relation to inspection, I think we have underestimated the inspection system. And we are giving it 5th, 6th, 7th, 10th priority. And then what comes in? Standard. I now allow for 1 or 2, 3 few comments and then we close. Madam, you first. Can we have someone to pass the mic around, please?
Thank you. We have heard from the inspection standards. My question is, which government department is responsible to fund the inspection or the standard officer? One. I am saying this one because I am also principal to a school. When I want the inspector to come and inspect my teachers in the school, for compulsory inspection for registration, I write report in the school. But for personal inspection, inspector must come. I want my teachers for personal appraisal. I have to give fuel to and lunch money to the inspector to come to my school. So I also fall short in my budget. Teachers, we are serving remote schools, and our hardship struggles have to be paid off. The only way we are promoted is through inspection. And through inspection, we go to the next, we get our eligibility, we substantiate, and we climb up the ladder like this. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. The two speakers are taking note of that, and then we'll have the responses later. Let's have one from the president, Western Pacific University.
Very my question, no, I think it will be a statement, but listening to everything that was said this morning and coming from the higher education sector, I'd like to propose that as we think through the challenges that we have, let's also embrace this thought about decolonization and neoliberalism in our time. And Chancellor has left, but I appreciated what he said about policy changes and review. Now, I think it is also a question to the government is how and when can we normalize or we do away with IMA and DMA structures in the salary for people who work in government and especially for teachers to have a single line salary. I am saying this with due respect to educators who have come into our space, international educators, but I really think that a structural change must be to embrace a single line salary to increase, to foster incentives and motivation for our educators in this country. Because it's a colonial policy that is there that must be normalized. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question, Dr. Bomai. Dr. Bomai, and then Professor, and then the two speakers will respond.
Thank you. I have a comment, and that is to support the idea of deliberate policy intervention by our Chancellor. Now, by listening to all the presenters, particularly from different levels of our schools, from the primary to the secondary and from the inspections. Now, in my view, National Department of Education Act and the Teaching Service Commission Act and the philosophies that informs those acts and the key players who are our successive governments. And from listening to our representative from UNESCO, Mr. Parua, there has been a misalignment of implementing education policies at all levels. And I see there is no coordination. And the biggest victims of this misalignment in policy implementation are our teachers. We expect them to deliver under very, very difficult circumstances in this country, and yet we call it a noble profession. I think the government should be ashamed and start looking at reforming our education system. And I think this conversation here is very good to start that conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have the last one from UPNG rep, Professor, and then the chairman will respond.
I think I would like to thank everybody who has participated in the previous panel as well as this current panel. I have a background in educational administration, and that's why I want to bring forward certain issues that are really affecting me at the moment. I will be representing the University of Papua New Guinea at the consultation workshop, which is called the PNG Transformation Vision 2075, which will be hosted at NRI on the 9th and 10th. And I would like to be your voice, especially those who participated in those two panels, to inform this particular consultation team that the unheard should be heard. And because most of the forums that I have attended are dominated by academics, and I think the practitioners have been left out. And these particular panels that I have witnessed actually taught me so much as an academic to take the agenda forward. And to participate at this consultation workshop, I would like to be their voice. There are certain keys come. Yes. We'll talk about that later. There are certain key factors that came out of these presentations. One is the training of school principals, training of pre-service, training of in-service teachers. I think that is bringing up that concern now, and it's touching us higher education providers. So that particular section of the presentation really touched me. I am asking myself whether I, as an educator, have educated another person to educate another. So that's coming back to me. Because when one moves from one position to another, they need a set of job skills that need to be transferred. So I think one of the issues for Teaching Service Commission is succession planning. That seems to be missing, and that needs addressed immediately. The other one is, as an academic, research should inform policy. And there has been a lot of changes. At one stage, I was teaching outcome-based education. The next moment, I was teaching standard-based education. And in that dialogue, I was never included as an academic to participate, to actually understand what was the transfer from outcome-based education to standard-based education. And that raised a lot of questions because we are the ones who train the teachers for the future. So if we academics at the higher tertiary institution are not involved in the dialogue, the Department of Education is then missing out on a lot of very key research projects that we are conducting at our level. So I would like to encourage the Department of Education to engage higher education institutions who are participating in teacher education to participate in their consultation workshops all the time, especially with very important structural changes. The other thing that I also picked up is the decentralization of powers. And I was just trying to tell the principal from Medina, you more or less reported your provincial education board chair who is sitting right in front of you. And that raised a question as an ed administrator. If she, sorry, Dr. Malpo, if she is in charge, I am pretty sure there should be drastic changes happening within the provincial level. So the decentralization of powers is then brought into question. So what is the role of the chairman of the provincial education board? So this is now my education administration teaching coming to the fore. So that raises, and she is also an ed administrator. So as ed administration specialist, we're now questioning each other, where are your powers? Because your teacher has just reported you in a national forum that you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I would like to uphold the presentations from Western Province. I am the executive director of the Open College. I travel to all my centers to do site assessments. The Western Province experience brought tears to me. But now I'm going to be emotional. My director lives in a state where the housing provided by the provincial government is appalling. When I visited the Daru University Center, I could not believe where my director was saying. I cried after that, but I did not show my tears when I was in front of him. But it is said that he has to also tell me that he's facing issues like that. The Western Province experience is a very big issue. We have 2 university campuses, university centers on that island. In the province. So we have one at Kiunga and one at Daru. The Daru is supposed to be the provincial center, but it appears that most of the provincial activities are happening from Kiunga. that also raises questions as to which center will become the provincial center and which center will become the district center. Because with our transformation at the University of Papua New Guinea, we have done away with grading centers according to where their locality is. I have 3 centers, Esala in the Milne Bay, Pomio in East New Britain, and Brugam at East Sepik, which are going to be closed in the near future if nothing is done by the provincial government or the district development authorities. Again, the university, as well as the provincial and district level authorities, the district development authority need to have a dialogue in how to bring forward change and bring forward transformation that is expected in Papua New Guinea. I just want to finish up with that. Thank you very much for hearing me.
Thank you, Professor. And we now have 1 or 2 comments from the former inspector as well as the chairman TSC, and then we'll close. Thank you.
Firstly, Chancellor, your comment about this morning about the recommendation, I wish to announce to the conference that the minister has taken note, and he has told me, give me a copy of the notes, and the notes, you put the notes together of the challenge that I faced, and we will do a information paper to NEC. After we've done the NEC, after we've done the information paper, all NEC survey past them, then we will work on a policy paper on the challenges that are faced by our rural teachers. That is something. And but I just, he asked me to comment because probably of experiences that the 2 of us had. And lunch money is a very big issue that we give to inspectors. But thank you anyways. If we don't give that lunch money, they won't. Sorry? That's what I'm trying to say. All right. That's what I'm trying to say. While it is not the best practice, but for the sake of the teachers, yes, helping Big League, it is my prayer that I don't compromise because she funded the visit. All right. Yes, IMA, DMA, doctor. She was a teacher when I was a school inspector. I'm proud of her. Very proud indeed. Okay. I wish to inform the forum that our expert teachers that we have in the country are paid the same salary and the teaching service salaries. But that we pay, sorry, doctor, we pay them an IMA because what they cut, that is the only difference that they pay. But we will look at that as well and see if our expert, our national teachers. Now, conference, I wish to inform you, the attitude of our national teachers is such that they are late for work and they leave early. But our contract officers stay on and finish. That is the difference. Our education and our teaching service acts are now being reviewed to accommodate the current education reform. All right, so we are working on that. Misalignment of policies with education, I will leave that with the universities and the Department of Education to sort out. I cannot make any comments on that. But Tamik train lo come up teacher lo here, only teaching me curriculum, how to implement that curriculum, how to write my lesson plans, do my yearly program, my yearly outline, my termly outline, and my weekly outline, and my lesson plan according to the curriculum. So, misalignment, I know you have made discussions with the secretary when he was here. Yeah, decentralization of powers, I cannot say anything on that. The only thing we can do is repeal the sections on the organic law, and we can do it. Then that's what it is. I want to announce one thing here. I didn't have opportunity. One thing that we did, I'm not saying me, I said we at the Teaching Service Commission did, was as soon as the Prime Minister announced that our teachers must be based at their qualifications, I think I should say that we elevated all the base levels in all sectors. Elementary teachers were on TSO 1, they are now on TSO 2. Primary school teachers that were base level was on TSO 2, it is now on TSO 3. High schools and secondary schools, right, were on TSO 3, they are now on TSO 4. National Schools of Excellence, were base level was 4, it's now 5. Right, our special schools that require special skills, that's our TVET instructors and our teachers of students with special education needs were on base 2, they are now on base 4. When we did that, it had a rippling effect up. It had a rippling effect up, and the teachers all of a sudden saw a change in their salaries. And that so when we signed the memorandum of agreement, the teachers got 2 pay rises that year. The base level rise and up, and the agreed teacher pay rise as well. No one can tell me that a teacher is underpaid. Teachers are better paid than the school inspectors. They're even better paid than some of our assistant secretaries at the department level. You go to a principal, no secondary school teacher has wanted to become a school inspector because why? He has a house, he has a school truck, and most of all, he has the school check. I said, no, I am very well looked after by TSC. I'm not coming. I am proud of that. Secretary tells me, what did you do? And secondary school inspectors are not wanting to become inspectors. Some inspectors are saying, Mila, come back teaching. I'm like, sure, come back. We'll give you back at your substantive level and you start teaching. You can get a better pay. All right, so that's basically what it is. And I just want to talk about one thing that in those days, when we became school inspectors, there were 3 trainings that department gave us. The school head teachers. They gave us, firstly, school management was the first training they gave us. The second training they gave us was finance management, how to budget, how to issue money. And the third one they did was curriculum management. And I wished, it doesn't hurt to, go back and see what was good practice and see if we can bring that practice back in. But however, on behalf of my commissioner and my colleague here, my colleague and myself, I wish to thank the conference committee and everyone to put the schools, practicing teachers, inspectors, and the education advisors to come. And I want to put on record that if you want examples of good practice, it's always there at Millen Bay. We go down there and we see that. Thank you, Mr. Tweedam, for what you're doing. And so thank you very much for your invitation. I totally learned a lot. Thank you, teachers, for sharing all this, and other presenters. I've made detailed notes, and I will go back with my presentation, put them together. Firstly, as a policy paper, and secondly, as a and then as a policy paper. Thank you.
The declaration now is the concept exposure for the map engaged with the discussion. And I think some of the reform and review initiative that Central Bank, let us do that. I think what they're saying is, we are not concerned. So I think that you're now undergoing this process, but I can government for that. But now I think what the academic is now put all the meeting, all the money, the pieces that because if the curriculum and the many of the issue and the economy objective, then why the thick middle not some so I think you can tell them now what you read regarding it, maybe online, offline, or everything. If you want to go to the provinces, I think that's just important because here now when you look at the very time review of the data, and it's not the PSF. So then you should have the money. The government everything on given up the desire. Frustration is that if they do that thing, you have nothing to do. That's how to do the best. But at the end of getting balance, document, policy or legislation, because all the stakeholder, wider communities have been concerned, and then everybody accept it. The final outcome, the output of the event.
Thank you. You know, the Teaching Service Act, the review started even before I went to the commission. We held it because we were already seeing the reforms that are coming up. We already had wide consultations to the provinces, education advisors, everybody, and so on. And we're just waiting now. The latest instruction I gave was ECE has just been introduced. So how? Where do we go? How do we go in here? So education as well, the same. And you know, teaching service is a regulatory authority, and we regulate the teachers, terms and conditions of employment, and so that's what it is. But thank you. I will get that to Secretary Combra, and we will see. But otherwise, thank you, Tomas. Waligat, Lomato plus, thank you in English, and in my adopted language, Boinatuna.
Thank you, Chairman, for those words. And ladies and gentlemen, I think we will have to give a round of applause to our panel members up here, Mr. Apisali from Western Province, and TSC Chairman, Mr. Wang Hyome. Please. Thank you. Thank you. We are done, and this session has come now to a close. Thank you.
Thank you. I will invite you to lunch. You have heard a lot. I think we are all inspired and also challenged at the same time. And we need to be thinking about ways of strategizing to move forward. And that will come in the Humila Veka declaration that will be launched after lunch. But we have one more session to complete, and that will be the parallel session for 1 hour. The presenters who missed out, we would like them to present in parallel sessions. And I have distributed the schedule. So the lunch will run for about 40 minutes, and it's now 1:27. And so by about 1:40, 50, or 2 o'clock, let's say by 2 o'clock, we will have the parallel session for 1 hour, 2 to 3, and 3 o'clock. I'd like to recall you all into this auditorium for the launch of the Umilaweka Declaration and the report presentation that will be delivered by the Vice Chancellor of the University of Goroka. Thank you. You are invited for lunch. Okay. Sorry, my apologies. There is a final forum dedicated to primary school teachers who are students of the University of Goroka who are currently studying here, and this will take place when we return at 3 o'clock after the parallel sessions, before the declaration of the Umilaweka report. Thank you. So, Ms. Teresa Lomoy, you're the chair of this session. So just informing you.
So now we're talking about energy.
Yeah, yeah.